every good magician knows, if you're going to pull off a good trick, you are going to have to be a master of illusion. So right behind me here is the old South African Republic Reserve Bank here on Church Square in Pretoria. Way back when, in 1900, in fact on the 5th of June, the British were already on Proclamation Hill, and they came into the city on the 5th, and there was not even a battle, because the Boer then knew that they couldn't beat the British at their own game, and that they were outnumbered, so they fled into the country to continue the battle as a guerrilla warfare. But when the British got here, boom, the Reserve Bank was empty, because the gold was gone, the cash was gone, the reserves were gone, and this is where a beautiful movie script could be created. Because I mean, this is the biggest heist ever was pulled. Nobody ever managed to pull that one off, take a whole country's reserves. Hence the Kruger Millions. I don't even know why they called it the Kruger Millions, because he denied having anything to do with it, or knowing what happened to the gold. And of course, everyone has gone on this story and that story and this theory and that, and it's gone on and on. I have my own theory, which I'm going to share with you at the end of this, how the masters of illusion pulled off the biggest heist robbery, if you want to call it that, ever. Well, let's just recap a little bit. I'm going to use some notes here because it's a bit of a story. So on the 5th of June 1900, the British arrived to an empty cupboard, so to speak, in Pretoria. The South Afrikaanse Republic government officials that already left for, they went and set up shop in a train to run the government there in Machadodorp. So they were already out of there. By the 2nd of June, they started clearing out already. Paul Kruger, by the way, he was already gone by the 29th of May. Well, this is Krugerspoort station, just on the outskirts of Pretoria. And it is said that Paul Kruger got on a small wagon and he came out here, and then he climbed onto a train here and then went off to Machadodorp. Now that's one of the theories. Who knows? So here at Waterval Honor is a Paul Kruger museum. So this is the sort of last known place where he stayed at before he went on to Mozambique, and then was taken through to Switzerland to finish out the war, basically. And in fact, he died in Switzerland, that's, I believe, in July 1904, but was only later buried on December the 16th, 1904, in the Church Street Cemetery next to his wife in Pretoria. It doesn't add much to our story about the Kruger Millions visiting Krugerhof, but I think it was anyway interesting just seeing all this history put so concisely on the walls and so on. So it's a great place to visit. What I did find interesting was all those villas that he stayed in. Must have cost the odd coin or two. So there are many accounts and many possibilities as to what would have happened to the riches of the government at that time. The unprocessed gold, the gold bars, the coins, notes, and I mean, surely there must have been diamonds even, I'm quite sure of that. But here's just three little stories that I picked up of Wikipedia and things like that. So the Attorney General, Jan Smuts, already on the 4th of June, by 9 o'clock, he's in the bank there, Reserve Bank, and he accounts supposedly and loads up stuff, and he puts it and he gives it over to Ernest Meyer, the Master of the Mint, who goes with 4 to 8 bodyguards. They load it up into a carriage. Actually, it wasn't even like a safe carriage, it was more like a passenger carriage, into a train at Pretoria Station. And they send it off via Middelburg to Lourenço Marques. And then somewhere there, it goes missing. That's the one story. Another one says that it did arrive there. And there was a German company over there, and they just basically converted that gold into money, and they bought a whole lot of flour for the war efforts to the Boers, to feed the Boers. Well, here's a good one. A horse thief, John Holsthausen, during his trial on the 29th of September 1905, he reckons he's the last of 3 men who knew where 2 million pounds worth of gold and diamonds were hiding, buried in the Blyde River Canyon. Now that's pretty rich if you want to save your bacon, eh? Then here's another one here. In 2001, there was an African family in the 1960s already. They said they had found 4,000 coins, or they were called ponds or ponds at that stage, but 4,000 coins. And they slowly, sold them off for piecemeals kind of things. But this was in the Ermelo area, and then of course that evoked a rush, and people went there, and that whole thing turned out to be a bit of a hoax, apparently. Look, the fact is, whether it was from the mines, whether it was from the mint, or whether it was from the Reserve Bank, the Brits only got the crumbs. So, okay, in this story, I haven't gone and chased facts and figures, interviewed all sorts of people and got all sorts of weird things together. I just kind of skirted over some thoughts of where, Kruger Millions could be. But what if this very smart illusion was like this? What if they took a few crumbs and splashed a few coins over here, and somebody found bars over there because you deliberately plant them because everyone is looking out there, when in fact you took it right from the building and you hid it right under one's feet? Because I believe behind me is, let's say for example here's the post office, and I believe there's tunnels under there, there's it could be planted in a room next door, and then you come back and you pick up your loot later. Classical Hollywood script. Think about it. It is possible, isn't it?